Hello, BookTube. For the first of two tags I'm doing this Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the Don't Forget About Me tag. This tag was created by Bookworm Adventure Girl, and I was tagged by Alan of Big Hard Books and Classics. I'll leave links to both Bookworm Adventure Girl and Alan's channels in the show notes down below, as well as a copy of the prompts if you are interested in doing the tag yourself if you haven't already done the tag, which I'm getting from Greg of Another Biblio Reads' version of the tag. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the show notes as well. Let's get going. Clean slates. Books you've read that you don't remember anything about. So for this, I'm going to go with The Rat by Gunter Grass, translated by Ralph Manheim. I read this book back in... I was probably 17 or 18 when I read this book. So 2000, 2001, maybe early 2002 at the latest. And all I remember of it is that I thought the book was weird. So let me read you the back of the book. Grass received her as a gift one Christmas. She was sitting under the tree in her gift-wrapped cage, amid fleece-lined slippers, a hand-colored map, a handsome engraving. That's how the rat came into Grass's life and imagination. The dream alternates with reality in a story within a story within a story, of Grass and his Christmas rat, of a group of liberated women on a research ship in the Baltic Sea, complaining, lamenting, to the clatter of their knitting needles. Of our old friend, the tin drummer, Oscar Watson-Rath, now 60, balding, plagued by prostate troubles, and head of a major video corporation whose motto is, "We are creating the future." At his grandmother Anna Koljachik's 107th birthday party, he shows a video of the re-greening of Germany carried out by characters from the pages of the Brothers Grimm, Rumpelstiltskin, the Frog King, and the Brothers Grimm themselves, now ministers of the environment in the Bonn government. But the rat intrudes in all these stories with stories of her own, challenging our narrator in his dreams and in his realities, arguing with him, interrupting, threatening. He in turn fights to preserve the human present by elaborating on his memories of the past, as he conjures up visions of a terrifying future in apocalyptic images that make inspired reading. Here is Grass Baroque, Grass Sensuous, Grass the witty observer, and interpreter of both the human and animal condition. So, all I remember of this book was that it dealt with fairy tales and folk tales in a post-apocalyptic setting. And I completely forgot about a lot of it. I had a go at rereading The Rat last year for Remember December, and it didn't quite go well. So, because I ended up bailing on it. But it did remind me a lot of what I had forgotten, and I'd honestly forgotten the whole story. So yeah, The Rat for number one. For Genie's Lamp, books you wish you could forget. Now, with this prompt, you can go in one of two directions. The book you would like to forget could be because you want the pleasure of reading the book for the first time again because you loved it so much. On the other hand, it could be because the book is so terrible you want to bleach it from your mind, which is the option that I'm taking. So for this, I'm going to go with the worst work of science fiction I have ever read and actually finished, and I don't know why, but I did. And that is Dryland's End by Felice Picano. This is a space opera in which humanity is part of a multi-species space polity called the matriarchy. Um, uh, there is a robot rebellion, and the robots have uh, basically used a biological weapon that renders the women of the matriarchy infertile. In order to stop this or to reverse it, our main character, alongside some companions, are sent to a remote planet that had been colonized by humans but had lost contact with the larger human society. So they've gone in a different direction. When they arrive, they discover that the young men of this planet are being kidnapped. And so they have to track down what's going on, who's kidnapping these young men, and why. And it turns out that the main character's father is a biologist who developed a way to sort of genetically engineer men into hermaphrodites. So basically, if you watch Steve Donahue's channel, he will sometimes talk about the Omegaverse, where some men are capable of bearing children. And so this is basically the idea here. So rather than reversing the sterility virus or that's afflicting women, it's basically just turning men into hermaphrodites. Or and it's the book is rather sexist. It's weird, and I don't like it. It's yeah. I have for a long time joked that the only reason why I kept this pile of poo is because I did not want to inflict it on anyone else. But I'm finally going to get rid of it one way or another because I don't want it in my collection anymore. It's so terrible. I didn't even want to see that cover anymore. Go away. Okay, next prompt. Forgotten gems. Books you think need more love. So for this, I'm going to go with Post Wall, Post Square by Kristina Spohr. This is a history of the end of the Cold War, focusing on the collapse of the communist regimes in Eastern Europe, primarily Poland, East Germany, and Hungary, with some looking at Czechoslovakia. It also looks at the Tiananmen Square protests and the ultimate collapse of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. I read this book in 2020 and really loved it. And yeah, it's definitely, and I noticed it did not really get a huge amount of attention when it came out, and that is a shame because this book is fantastic. And finally, the Forget-Me-Nots. Books you will always remember. So for this prompt, I'm sticking with history, and I'm going with Weavers, Scribes, and Kings by Amanda H. Podany. So this is a hilarious, I love this book. It's a history of the ancient Near East that takes as its conceit the history of cuneiform writing, or the usage and memory of cuneiform writing. So the book begins with the first written words in cuneiform, and ends with Alexander the Great, when the cuneiform writing fell into disuse and out of memory. But this book is fantastic. I really enjoy it. I especially love how Podany looks at different people who, even with the dearth of sources, managed to emerge in history. So it's really good. And of course, if you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. Thank you, BookTube. I will be back with another tag video. So until then, thank you. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.